The incessant drumming of rain against the attic window mirrored the tempest brewing inside Elias. Each drop seemed to amplify the accusations hurled at him just hours ago in the sterile boardroom. Betrayal, incompetence, failure. The words, sharp and unforgiving, echoed in the cramped space, a stark contrast to the quiet solitude he usually found amongst his antique maps and forgotten relics. His hands, usually steady as he meticulously restored centuries-old charts, trembled as he traced the faded lines of a world map from the 17th century. A wave of bitterness washed over him. Years of dedication, countless sleepless nights poured into building the company, and this was his reward? To be cast aside, his contributions dismissed as mere footnotes in the grand narrative of corporate success. He sank onto a dusty trunk, the weight of injustice pressing down on him. His breath hitched, and a knot of anger tightened in his chest. He clenched his fists, the silence of the attic amplifying the frantic pulse in his ears. He longed to lash out, to confront those who had wronged him, to make them understand the depth of his hurt and outrage. Just then, his gaze fell upon a worn, leather-bound book tucked away in a corner. He vaguely remembered his grandfather, a man of quiet wisdom, leaving it for him. Curiosity piqued, Elias reached for it. The title, embossed in faded gold lettering, read, Meditations. He opened the brittle pages, and his eyes fell upon a passage. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The words struck him with unexpected force. It was as if Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic, philosopher and Roman emperor, was speaking directly to his turmoil. Elias reread the sentence, letting its meaning sink in. He had been so consumed by the external events, the accusations, the perceived betrayal, that he had allowed them to dictate his inner state. His anger, his anxiety, were products of his reaction, not the events themselves. He continued to read, his eyes scanning another profound observation. How much more harmful are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? Seneca's words resonated deeply within him. He saw the truth in them. His anger was consuming him, poisoning his thoughts, and preventing him from seeing the situation with clarity. It was a self-inflicted wound, far more damaging than the initial sting of injustice. As the rain outside softened to a gentle drizzle, a sense of calm began to settle over Elias. The Stoic wisdom he had encountered offered a different perspective, a path towards inner peace amidst external chaos. He realized that while he couldn't control the actions of others, he could certainly control his response. He could choose not to be consumed by bitterness, not to let anger fester and dictate his future. He spent the rest of the afternoon in the attic, immersed in the writings of Aurelius and Seneca. He found solace in their emphasis on virtue, reason, and acceptance of what lies beyond our control. He reflected on the importance of focusing on his own character, on acting with integrity, regardless of how others behaved. The initial sting of betrayal hadn't vanished entirely, but its power over him had diminished significantly. He began to see the situation not as a personal attack, but as an event. An unpleasant one, certainly, but ultimately outside his direct control. His focus shifted from seeking retribution to understanding his own values and how he wanted to move forward. Days turned into weeks. Elias didn't lash out. He didn't engage in bitter recriminations. Instead, he took time for introspection, applying the principles he had discovered in Meditations. He focused on what he could control: his work ethic, his integrity, and his response to the situation. He started working on a new venture, one that aligned more closely with his passions and values. He approached it with a renewed sense of purpose, his past experience serving as a valuable lesson rather than a source of resentment. Months later, he unexpectedly encountered one of the board members who had been instrumental in his removal. The man seemed uncomfortable, offering a hesitant apology. Elias listened calmly, without bitterness or triumph. He acknowledged the apology without dwelling on the past. As they parted ways, Elias felt a quiet sense of liberation. He had not sought revenge, but he had found a deeper form of victory, the victory over his own negative emotions. He had learned that true strength lies not in controlling external events, but in mastering one's inner world. The practical lesson Elias learned is one that resonates deeply in everyday life. We will inevitably face situations that evoke strong negative emotions: anger, frustration, anxiety. These feelings are natural, but allowing them to control us can lead to further suffering and hinder our ability to navigate challenges effectively. The wisdom of Stoicism, as exemplified by Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, offers a powerful framework for dealing with such situations. Focus on what you can control. We often waste energy and mental space worrying about things outside our influence. Shifting our focus to our own thoughts, actions, and values empowers us to respond more effectively. Recognize the destructive nature of uncontrolled emotions. Anger and resentment harm us more than they harm others. Learning to observe our emotions without judgment and choosing a more reasoned response is crucial for our well-being. Practice acceptance. This doesn't mean condoning injustice or negativity, but rather acknowledging the reality of the situation without letting it consume us. Acceptance allows us to move forward with clarity and purpose. Cultivate inner resilience. By focusing on our character, practicing self-discipline, and developing our capacity for reason, we build inner strength that allows us to weather life's storms. Just like Elias, we can all learn to navigate difficult times by turning inward, understanding our emotional responses, and choosing a path guided by reason and virtue rather than being swept away by the tempest of our feelings. The power to find peace and strength lies within us, waiting to be discovered.